a beach cafe, a life filled with sun, sea, and love. But unseen dark secrets are quietly approaching. When the truths hidden in the shadows of betrayal and deceit come to light, no one will remain the same. This is a story of love and revenge. Are you ready to uncover the secrets beneath the waves? The sun was slowly rising over the sea. The sound of waves reached the front of the cafe, and seagulls broke the morning silence. That morning was like any other. Or so I thought. I used to believe that love was stronger by the sea. Maybe the sea hides secrets better than people can. I thought ours was the same, unshakable, pure, and eternal love. But I was wrong. Everything was fine at our little beach cafe. The smell of coffee mixed with the air, and people smiled as they came in, saying, "Good morning." She winked at me while squeezing lemonade behind the counter. I smiled back. There was still something familiar in her eyes. But now I realize that familiarity had long disappeared. You two really are like a movie couple. That movie would probably be a romantic comedy full of fights. And as always, I'd be the winner. This cafe was everything to us. 3 years ago, it was just a dream and a bit of courage. We painted the walls ourselves, carried chairs in the rain, welcomed our first customer together. Everything was shared. Everything was real. Or so I thought. Every corner of the cafe held a memory. Our first kiss, dancing on the counter at midnight, working late together until we were exhausted. All ours, or so I thought. Days went by and little things started to bother me. She avoided eye contact. Hugs were shorter, kisses more shallow. Still, I suppressed my doubts. Because when you love someone deeply, you choose peace. You silence your suspicions. But some silences are the loudest screams. One late night while cleaning, I saw her laughing while texting on the phone. "Who are you texting with? That smile looks dangerous." "Rick, he's organizing a poker night. You don't like it, do you?" "Tell Rick not to forget the snacks this time." I smiled then, but something inside me broke. It was like a voice whispering that something was wrong. But I chose to stay silent. Maybe I was afraid. Maybe I preferred pretending to be happy than knowing the truth. That night, I sat on the balcony watching the sea. The wind tossed my hair, but inside me a restlessness stirred. Something had changed. Nothing would ever be the same again. But back then I didn't know. The storm had already begun. One morning, I noticed she no longer woke up early. She used to be the first awake before the coffee machine started. Now the phone alarm rang and went off, while she stayed in bed. When she opened her eyes, she didn't look at me. She looked at her phone. At breakfast, silence ruled. The clinking of cutlery was more disturbing than the sound of the waves. "Is everything all right?" "I'm just tired. Things are a bit busy at the cafe." Tiredness was the excuse. One of the classics, but I believed her. I buried the lie deep inside. One night, I went to take out the trash. On my way back, I heard her voice. She was talking quietly on the phone. I hid in a corner and listened. All I caught were these words. "Don't worry, I'm not with him tonight." "Yes, I miss you." I froze. Wearing slippers, holding an empty trash bin. My heart shattered. That night, I said nothing. She got into bed and hugged me. I closed my eyes and held my breath. Pretended to be asleep. While she slept, I stared at the ceiling all night. The next morning, while ironing her shirt, a hotel key fell out of her pocket. It bore the name of the town, but not ours. The small hotel on the other side of the beach. We never sent customers to that hotel. I carefully hung her shirt back, put the key in my bag. Still, I said nothing. At the cafe, we talked less. Customers still thought we were a happy couple. Some asked for photos and we smiled. But beneath those smiles was a poisonous silence. When we met eyes, it was as if traces of another woman were there. As if I was now just a habit. That afternoon, a woman appeared in front of the cafe. Long blonde hair, red lipstick, big sunglasses. Our eyes met as she passed by. She smiled. Something inside me trembled. The woman walked towards the counter. Daniel sighed. When he saw her, he faltered for a moment, then quickly composed himself. "Welcome. What can I get for you?" "What do you recommend?" Her smile was icy. I watched. I didn't reach for my cup's handle. I only looked. And the only thought crossing my mind was, this wasn't when I first saw the betrayal. But now it had a face. That night, instead of the balcony, I walked on the beach. The moon reflected on the sea. The cool wind tossed my hair. My feet sank into the sand, but my mind wandered elsewhere. A sentence kept echoing in my head. "You think you forgot me, but I remember everything." I stayed at the cafe until dawn, reviewed the security footage, checked the financial records, opened business documents. And for the first time, I whispered aloud, "I will destroy you, Daniel, by tearing down everything you built with your own hands." The storm was no longer just beginning. I was ready to take control. The next morning, Daniel came to the cafe early as usual, but I had already woken up before him. I made coffee, but this time not for him, for myself. I watched him. He hid his phone under the counter. He thought I wouldn't notice, but I saw everything he tried to hide. That day, there were many customers, but I watched not the customers, but the looks passing between tables. Every time Daniel glanced secretly at his phone, he quickly deleted incoming notifications. I went to the back and logged into the hotel security cameras on my phone. I had already spoken with the hotel manager. Getting the footage was easy. I saw the woman entering the hotel many times with him, holding hands, laughing, shamelessly. My knees shook, but my face didn't change a bit. I decided not to be controlled by emotions anymore, but to play with my mind. The next day, I visited an old summer house by the beach. It was from my childhood, a place no one knew. It was dilapidated, but the walls still stood. I wiped the dust away, washed the curtains, started to rebuild it slowly. That house would be my silent refuge, but also the center of my plan. One night, while Daniel was closing the cafe, I approached him. "I know we've grown apart lately. I want us to spend some time together. How about going to the vineyards outside town this weekend?" He was surprised to hear that. Immediately accepted. He wore a guilty smile. Of course, I'd love that. But when his girlfriend heard about our weekend plan, she messaged Daniel. I read it with my own eyes. "He doesn't suspect I'll spend a few days with him. Then I want to see you." At that moment, the last shred of hope inside me disappeared. What hurt me wasn't love anymore. He was an enemy I had planned against. The weekend came. I packed his suitcase, but no one touched the bag in the back seat. Inside it were my hidden cameras, voice recorders, and notes written for him. At the vineyards, I took photos with him, posted them on social media, but every post was a mask. I pretended to be truly in love one last time. At night, after he took a shower, I accessed his phone, backed up his photos, messages, archived his voice messages. He came out of the shower and smiled while reading a book in bed. But all I could think was, "You dug your own grave, Daniel. I'm just planting the flowers." Ismar anar kiasasas. When we returned to the cafe, everything seemed to continue as before. But behind every glance was a calculation. Every word was a step, and every step brought him closer to the end. I first strengthened my relationship with the staff, especially with the young cashier, Emily. I learned from her who came and went. Whenever that woman showed up at the cafe, I wasn't there. But Emily whispered every time how the woman looked at Daniel and how he looked away. One night, when the cafe was empty, I approached Daniel. "You look tired lately. Want to take a few days off?" He was surprised. My offer would do him good, and it served my plan. I offered a fake vacation. A friend of mine had just opened a boutique hotel outside the city, and I booked a few days there for him. He accepted. It was so easy. As soon as he left, I made some changes in the cafe. Installed new software at the register. Changed the camera angles. Rearranged the staff. But the most important thing, I collected all his messages with his lover, voice messages, and photos holding hands in a special folder. I named the folder The Real You. While Daniel was on vacation, the woman came to the cafe. She was alone, wearing red lipstick and a white dress, as if she was putting on a show. I served quietly. Didn't even make eye contact. But when she came to pay, I handed her a small envelope. Inside was only this message. "He's not only yours, and he was never mine. Are you ready to watch together?" Underneath, I placed a QR code. When she scanned it, voice messages Daniel sent me, saying the same words. Played. Her face changed for the first time. Her soul shuddered, stunned in that moment of silence. Without a word, she left the cafe. The next morning, Daniel returned. I prepared his breakfast without showing anything. We sat at the table. But under the tea glass, there was a napkin with this written on it. "Nothing is as it seems, just like you." He read it and looked at me. He smiled. But behind that smile was fear, and I saw that fear clearly for the first time. Because now he knew. He realized nothing would be the same again. But he didn't yet know what was about to begin. I had just opened a new door to his hell, and this was only the beginning. He woke up early, ironed his shirt, carefully combed his hair, looked in the mirror like everything was fine. But the reflection in the mirror no longer belonged to him. Because he was starting to believe his own lies, at breakfast I said nothing. He drank his tea, but my silence was sharp in his eyes. He tried to ask something several times, but I only stared, a long, heavy gaze that pierced through him. Is everything all right? Do you think it is? He swallowed hard. Tried to speak, but words got stuck in his throat. Still, he chose silence, because some silences are the clearest signs of guilt. That day, the cafe was busier than usual, but my eyes kept looking at the door. She didn't come, and he noticed it. He checked his phone over and over. Missed calls, no messages. Confused, sat quietly on a chair staring ahead. Late at night, while he sat alone in the office, I entered. When you lie to someone, the lie first traps you. I don't understand what you mean. I'm sure you do. I left a sealed envelope on the table. No QR code this time. Just a black and white photo. The two of them. On the beach. Holding each other. In my cafe. He turned pale when he saw the photo. Tried to speak but couldn't find the words. That was the first time he was truly afraid. What do you want? The truth. Only the truth. It's over. Everything's over with her. Then why does she still call you? He bowed his head. Couldn't admit it, but couldn't deny either. That defeated expression on his face didn't satisfy me. Because this was only the beginning. The next day, a video began circulating on the local gossip page of the beach town. Footage from the back camera of the cafe showed Daniel secretly kissing the woman. The caption read, "What you think is love sometimes is just a game, but players never forget." Daniel saw the video, threw something at his phone, blushed, panicked, sat on a stool in the kitchen, burying his face in his hands. The destruction had finally begun. People's looks changed. Customers started whispering. The woman disappeared, and Daniel was drowning in the silence he created. Me? I was still sitting in the same chair, but my eyes no longer held that old love, only the calm peace of a plan, because the collapse had begun, and this was only the first blow. Night had fallen heavily over the town. The cafe lights were dimmed. Customers had left, and chairs were overturned. He was still sitting in a corner, tired, messy, exhausted. The sound of my shoes echoed in the silence as I entered. He didn't lift his head, but I knew he felt me. I thought you'd choose silence tonight. Silence is suffocating tonight. Before sitting, I placed a bottle of water and a glass on the table. He watched motionless. I ruined everything. Yes, you did. His eyes filled with tears. This time he didn't run away. Our eyes met, and in that moment, everything I had kept silent for years turned into words. I fought for this cafe for 3 years. I clenched my teeth to keep our dreams alive. You isolated me while betraying me right in front of my eyes. And the worst, I kept loving you. He was silent. Tears fell from his eyes, but those tears no longer affected me. She meant nothing to me, really. It was just a moment. A lapse. A lapse isn't a choice by itself. You chose her, not me. I leaned back in my chair. On my back was not the weight of tiredness, but of disappointment. I tried to forgive you, really, but every time I learned something new, a new lie, a new scar, a new message. It's over, I promise. Everything is over. No, now it's over. Because now I left you. His eyes froze. He tried to say something, but words failed him. The only sound breaking the silence was a sigh. I stood up, walked to the door. This cafe was our story, but now it's the graveyard of my memories. I opened the door. The cool night air hit my face. A single tear slipped from the corner of my eye. I walked away without looking back, because some betrayals cannot be forgiven, and some farewells are the beginning of freedom. The morning sun bathed the beach town in soft light. I stood on the terrace of my new beach club. Its name was The Wave, the beach for free women. This was my domain now. In the distance, Daniel appeared, slowly walking toward the shore. Regret and helplessness written all over his face. I didn't want to go to him, but fate brought us together at the shore. Why are you here? I came to say goodbye. Goodbyes of liars are short. He looked into my eyes, tried to lose himself inside. Give me one more chance. My smile was ice cold. The only thing I can give you is silence. You lost everything, Daniel. Our cafe, our love, our respect. And me. He paused for a moment. I deserved this, he whispered. No, you deserved it. But now I'm strong. And free from you. I walked toward the beach. The sand beneath my feet was cold and soft. The sound of the sea echoed in my ears. I turned once more. Remember, Daniel, some storms don't come to destroy you. They come to wake you up. He stayed there, alone. Finished. As Daniel walked away, I took a deep breath. My eyes no longer held sadness but determination. Years of pain, betrayal, and disappointment were replaced by freedom and strength. I closed the cafe and set out on my own path. The wave was not just a beach club, it was the symbol of my rebirth. Like the waves of the sea, life comes and goes. But now I was strong, standing on my own feet. Leaving the past behind, it was time to start a new life. And this time, I would live only for myself.